Thank you so much. Oops. Well, good afternoon. Thanks for being here. And this is really, what a festival in a very important and critical moment for mankind. My name is Gilson Schwartz. I am the president of Games for Change Latin America and the Caribbean. And some people now demand if we could take care of Canada. I think it's too much. Okay, for the past 15 years, we've held festivals, promoted projects, games in Latin America. I have the pleasure of being a partner for all these years. And our next session focuses on something that is dear to our very original project, like 20, 30 years ago. And that's the power of mentorship. I remember being in New York and learning about 25 years ago or so. There was not an internet, just emails, and there was this telementoring program for women and girls in STEM. So, mentorship, key subject. Maybe I think it's a meta subject. It's transversal to everything we do. That's the subject matter of our next session. Eric Monacelli, he was not able to make it today, so we hope he feels better. Eric feels better soon. And we still have a great talk for you, okay? So today we're joined leaders of the local community who know the impact of investing in emerging talent. And that's, the key word here is emerging. Not that old talented people do not exist like me. But I mean, our priority is really kids, teen, youth, emerging talent, like the New York Video Game Critics Circle. So we have founder Harold Goldberg and executive director Ryan O'Callaghan. They're joined by an extra special guest, mentor and former mentee Ronald Gordon. Together they share how mentoring students in writing and storytelling opens doors, and why guiding the next generation is essential to building a better, more innovative industry and sustainable society. Join me and welcome Harold, Ryan, and Ronald.
Gilson, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Welcome to the Power of Mentoring for Careers in Video Games. As you just said, unfortunately, Eric Monacelli from Marvel Games couldn't be with us today. He is not feeling well, so we're just hoping he's feeling better. But a big thank you to Games for Change for helping us in the 11th hour get everything set up and ready to go. And we have a really exciting talk for you. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to our speakers today. I'm Ryan O'Callaghan. I'm the executive director of the New York Video Game Critics Circle, and I'll just be moderating this conversation. We have Harold Goldberg, the founder and president of the New York Video Game Critics Circle, an accomplished writer and critic who's written for the Washington Post, Time, The Atlantic, and more, and is currently the video game critic at the New York Times. We also have Ronald Goldberg, a writer and Gordon.
Too many G's.
In the back, we were saying green, we're losing it. Ronald Gordon, writer and mentor with us at the New York Video Game Critics Circle. He writes our bi-weekly column, The Roundup, and has written many amazing reviews and essays on our website. He's a former Playing with Purpose student, long-term New York Video Game Critics Circle intern, and an intern with Rockstar Games. So as we get ourselves started, there we go, we've got our pictures. The first thing I want to ask both of you as either a mentor or a former mentee, what is it, what's important about providing mentorships for students?
So when we created the New York Video Game Critics Circle about 15 years ago, even the critics were all white, and we didn't. I went in and said we wanted diversity in our group, so that was job one. And when we began to go up to the Bronx, what I saw was key is that the game industry at that time was still pretty white. It's gotten better now, but we felt the more diverse faces that we can bring and mentor along the way would really help set students on a path to getting good jobs in games, or if they want to get good jobs in games journalism. So that's been my goal since the beginning. It remains my goal today, and it'll be our goal in the future. So everything we do with the New York Video Game Critics Circle and our Playing with Purpose program is along those lines.
And I think for me, being a former mentee, it's just the idea of getting out there. You know, I've always loved games as a kid, and growing up, I didn't know that the industry was just so accessible. Mm-hmm. So getting to be a mentee, getting to interact with people within the industry, or just you know, seeing the way the industry works, you know, partnering with Rockstar and being an intern there, it's just a matter of, it helps make the industry more alive. It helps it, like, make it feel more alive rather than this machine that churns out games. It's a place in which ideas are turned into interactive, you know, projects, and it's a wonderful opportunity to see that in the making, even as a journalist.
Yeah, I mean, so like part of what I'm hearing, right, is there's that level of awareness of even what's available in the games industry. I was a teacher for 7 years before I worked full time with the Critics Circle, and you know, it was really apparent that students loved games, but they didn't always know what pathways could get them to a career in games. So I think this opportunity of being able to talk about how writing is a key important component to that is really beneficial from an early age to understand what your future opportunities are. Because once you start getting into high school and college, at some degree, it becomes a little too late for students to really start building that strong foundation. And
I just wanted to interject quickly. When I was a kid, I didn't know anything about mentors. We were poor. We were on welfare. I was sick and I almost died. And really there was no one to kind of point me in the direction of, oh, games, maybe you could have a mentor there, or journalism, maybe you could have a mentor there. So it's important to help people out once you're at a certain place. And even before, man, you know, mentoring is cool.
So Harold, you've had this successful career as a writer. How did this translate into building a nonprofit and, you know, putting your time into mentoring students?
I also knew jack shit about creating a nonprofit. So luckily I turned to someone who did know, Ted Houghton, who runs a nonprofit for homeless, for underserved and homeless folk. And Ted knew the ins and outs of it. So there are legal services for nonprofits that will help you along the way too, that don't charge you. It just was like, once we began the process and researched it, it kind of all fell into place. But I think it was key that we were at a good school to begin with. So that was the Dream Yard prep school in the Bronx. They also helped us along the way, and it was really key. So it was like, see, if I call a school right now out of the blue in New York City and say, hey, we can mentor with games, they'll say, what? No. Even in 2025. So it's key to find an educator like you were in the Bronx, Ryan, that really knows the power of games and how they can bring people together through through writing and through narrative writing, even Twine games are important for young people to learn about. So yeah, that's kind of a long-winded answer to your question.
Yeah. So Harold, you started this partnership. You started to go into schools. Ronald, I know you started with the organization when you were in like 9th or 10th grade at the time. I know from being a teacher that even if you are presenting students with something that you think is really cool, 90% of the time your students are going to be like, I don't know if I'm into it. So how did that? How did you cross that threshold? What got you into that classroom and to be part of the program when it was offered at your school?
So, funnily enough, mentioning DreamYard is actually where I went to high school, and that's my first interaction with the Critic Circle. But it was having role models within DreamYard, one of which being Rudy Blanco, who was always like the person who was like, oh no, you have to get out and you have to chase like your dreams. You have to chase whatever you're being offered. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can really do as as a person in any industry, is just chase opportunities. So yeah, having schools and role models within the schools that will like push you towards that goal and give you that sort of foothold to be like, oh no, I'm worth something. I should pursue something that I feel I can really go after. And the Critic Circle was one of those opportunities where at the base of it, going back to like my high school brain, I was like, oh, I play games all the time. Of course I can write about like what I like about a game. But then it became like, oh, I don't just like this game because it's fun. I like this game because I get to interact with the story. I like this game because of the characters, and really like delving into the mindset of a journalist is what helped spark this whole thing, because it's not something that most people know of. Like, you can talk about anything you like about anything, and it's just a matter of having the outlet to do that professionally.
There are a lot of kids that we saw there that had great talent. We see that every day. The kids have great talent, but they, in some way, I mean, it's a strong word, but some of the kids I met even before you, Ronald, they really said they felt worthless. And so it's like, no, you're not worthless. You're cool and you like games and you like writing. Let's all come together and make a game. Let's all come together and get something published for you. So it really worked out well. And it worked out so well over the years that people steal from us. So that's kind of our high compliment as well. Right?
So what did those classes look like in those early days? I have the benefit of having been with the organization for the last 2 years, but early on, what were some of the key driving factors to what those classes were like from either the student perspective or setting it up for the first time?
Well, I can say from the student perspective, it was helpfully so, like very down to earth. When I'm looking back on it, I remember the main thing that was asked of us was like a game review or an idea on a game narrative, which we still keep in Playing with Purpose nowadays. And I just remember my review was simple. I talked about playing Armored Core. I believe it was the 5th one that I reviewed, because I was super into mech games, and I really loved Armored Core growing up on it. On the PS2, I played Armored Core 2, and just getting to talk about it or getting it down on the page was fun. And then we went through the process of like getting it looked at, getting some feedback on it. So it was very much a down-to-earth process, which of course has changed, but it was very simple when it came down to...
I mean, we had no money at that time. We weren't even a nonprofit yet, so they really said, well, let's have a game room. And I said, okay, I'll give you my Vizio TV and my PlayStation, and you guys can play games. And then you did play games like during breaks and stuff, right?
Yeah. We had small splinter groups of like Mortal Kombat or other fighting games on like a PlayStation 4, I believe. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So we were doing all these things, which were like mentoring, New York Game Awards, Critic Circle meetings, trying to get game companies interested, and we had no money at all. So it really was at one point, Jeff Keighley, who does the Game Awards, went to someone at Sony and said, like, they're gonna die, which we were. We had nobody. So they need some help. So that was really our first big influx of money, and it's still hard, man, to do that. But we've only gotten stronger since those early days.
Yeah. So speaking of which, we're going to cut to a quick video just to give an idea of what that mentorship really looks like in the real world. I don't know. I know they've got the video, and of course it's a very awkward still frame.
Can I click it?
We may be skipping the video.
Oh, here we go.
So over the last 10 weeks, we have been here at the Laboratory School of Finance and Technology, bringing our Playing with Purpose classes to these really exciting and energetic students. We've taught them how to write a critical review and how to come up with their own video game pitch, which students were able to present in front of some of our amazing circle members and get feedback and get to have their ideas heard. On top of all that, always the kids' favorite thing is we also get to hang out and play games and start building a community of positivity around games.
So in the past 10 weeks, I learned about connotative language. I learned how to make a good review. I learned about how the process of how people create video games, in which you taught us that you can make a pitch presentation where you put the ideas in your game and you present it at companies. And if they want this game to be made, they're here's $1 million for you to make this game.
Having seen the students from the start of this and see their growth and see their ideas develop and flourish has been really exciting. It's very easy for a student to tell you in excitement what they like and what they are into, but to see them put that on the page and be able to put it forward and be presentable and really see some high quality work come out of students is always a really, really exciting thing to see.
One thing it taught me is to actually write good video game reviews. For example, I did with Mario Kart 8. Most of it is really about video game reviews, what makes it a good video game review, how important it is to be honest about it.
It's always exciting for me to step back into the classroom, connect with students, and more importantly, connect with something that we have a shared love and passion for. It's not often in a school setting that you get to hang out and talk about games, but also do so in a way that is really positive and promotes literacy and learning, but still maintains the authenticity of what is fun about a video game. Thank you. So within that curriculum, right, we're teaching students how to write as journalists and do narrative writing, but a large part of what's embedded in that curriculum, which has been there from the start, is mentorship. So why is it such an important component to that model that we're present in the room for these lessons, or we're bringing in outside mentors, like you can see some of them up on the screen here. Why is it an important component to the actual structure of the program itself?
Well, we brought Reggie Fils-Aimé onto our board a few years ago, and Reggie grew up not far from the schools at which we mentor. Mm-hmm. And so, and Reggie has a gravitas, former president of Nintendo. He really does know how to speak to any sort of audience pretty much at any time. That's what he does, and he's very inspiring. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, Ronald, but I still hear from students who were there when Reggie came to speak before he was on our board, which took 2 years to do because he was still at Nintendo and very busy. But they still remember that day and talk about it fondly.
Yeah. It's it's an aspect, like I mentioned earlier, how it makes the industry feel more alive. Not just Reggie, but also Simon Ramsey at Rockstar Games. Mm-hmm. He has been to many events coming out, and it's a good proponent as to making the industry feel more alive, because most companies that make games, most developers are all the way in Los Angeles or in other parts of the world. But here in New York, we have some small cells or some bigger cells like Rockstar Games who are here and present within the city, and it helps to make it feel more at home, for gamers out there who are like, well, if I want to make games, I have to go to somewhere big. No, if you want to make games in New York, there are games in New York to be made.
So we're running a little low on time. I'm sure we could talk for like an hour at this. But what I'd like to know is, like, you've talked about like having Reggie in the classroom or meeting with Simon Ramsey. Are there other standout moments where either like as a mentor that you've had an interaction with a student, or someone who's been able to come in and you're seeing that impact in real time?
I mean, a couple of things. We had Garrett Cole from the Yankees a few weeks ago, which was key. But I remember teaching on the Lower East Side at Henry Street Settlement. And there was a young man who didn't speak through the whole class, and we have 12-week courses. And I said, dude, I appreciate you, but you gotta talk. We have to write. And he said, well, it's too important to me. It's too hard for me to say what I need to say. And I said, well, why not in print? And I said, tell it to me. And so his story was that he and his mom, his father walked out on them, and he and his mom played Call of Duty all night long. So they'd play a little bit, then they'd literally break down and cry, and play, and then cry. And so I helped him write a story about that. And it, when we printed it, it went viral. So, and the kid was like so happy. He said, wow, I wrote that. And I said, yeah, dude, you wrote it. And not only did you write it, everyone likes it. So he became an intern and did really quite well with us. But that's the kind of thing, Ryan, that we just want to help.
Yeah, so it looks like we're just about out of time. So any last words, if there's someone interested in mentoring themselves or looking to provide mentorship opportunities to others, what's something that you would want them to take away?
Knock on doors, don't be an asshole about it. But be kind of quietly persistent, and doors were open. That's why Rockstar Games are partners with us. That's why Reggie is a partner. I think you as a mentee can get a great mentor just by knocking on the doors of the company that you like.
Yeah, I'm always very moved about how willing people are to help. Even like some of the bigger people that we talk to, you assume that their time is so valuable, but a lot of the time, that's the thing that they're willing to give.
Well, and they have foundations themselves, so they do want to help.
There's that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for us. So thank you all so much.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.